Now continuing our review of Lakeside and over to the women's event, and Beau Greaves at 18 years old becomes the youngest women's world champion. It brings us on to our question of the week. Is she currently the best women's player in the world right now? What do you reckon?
Oh, it's a tough question, and I can't say that she is. And the biggest reason why I can't say that she is because we didn't see her get pushed. If we saw her get pushed by someone, maybe I would say that. And okay, fine. In her first match, to some extent, she was pushed by Veronica Ijas. But that was really it. And even in that, okay, she very nearly could have gone two legs to one down in that final set. But I think she was just so shocked that Veronica had come back at her that we never got to see her lift her game. But she played at a steady standard pretty much throughout, had a couple bad legs when she was a leg away from winning it. But she never really needed to lift her game. She dominated Aline de Graaf. She dominated Lorraine Winstanley. She dominated Kirsty Hutchinson, and for the first set averaged over a ton, and for the first couple sets was averaging in the high 90s. Still averaged a world record for a world final over 92 in that final. But she wasn't pushed, so we don't know what she can do when she truly is under pressure. We've seen what Fallon Sherrick can do when she's under pressure. We see that she can erase a 3-1 deficit and win 5-3, hitting a 170 out that she had to advance. She can beat major champions like Mensur-Suljovic, who I just mentioned in the last question, beat him twice, push Peter Wright all the way in a long-form match. We haven't seen what Beau Greaves can do, and until that, I can't say that she is the best. And I didn't mention Lisa Ashton, but have to mention Lisa Ashton as well because we know what she can do when she's pressed as well. Beau Greaves has a lot of potential, and at the rate she's going, if she's not the best in the world, she'll absolutely be in that conversation pretty darn soon. But in an event that they didn't have the two players who, for this event, would have been considered the two best in the world in Sherrick and Ashton, and because we didn't have to see her really get pushed, I'm not ready to anoint her the best. I am ready to anoint her the world champion because she was unquestionably the player of the tournament, and she was unquestionably a deserved champion. And the way she looked, I wouldn't have been surprised if she had beaten both Ashton and Sherrick if given the opportunity. But I'm still going to put those two ahead of her because we know what they can do under pressure. We don't yet know what she can do under pressure, but hopefully we'll know sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. And I've got to say, it's been one of our most popular question of the weeks so far this year. Just looking at the poll at the moment, we only started it this morning, but over 600 votes so far. And we've got Beau Greaves leading the poll at the moment, 48%, Lisa Ashton, 28%, Fallon Sherrick, 23%, and other going with 1%. We'll read out some of the messages that we've had from some of our listeners as well. Rachel Gallagher agreeing with us, saying it's impossible to answer. They're all equally as good. It just depends on the day, venue and crowd. All three need to attend all Women's Series events in order to determine who played consistently the best over that year. We've had Luke get in touch as well, saying very similar. It's very hard to tell at this stage because Fallon and Lisa didn't play at the Lakeside. Arguably, Lisa is the best floor player and Fallon is the best stage player, so they're fairly equal in a way. Beau is definitely in the mix, but it's hard to predict where she stands right now. And I think I'm in a similar opinion for that as well. We've got to give the credit to Beau Greaves, and we had her on our show just before the Lakeside, in the lead up to the Lakeside, after she won those 3 titles in the Isle of Man, and it's well documented the problems that she's had in her game with dartitis, and looks like overcome that pretty well. You know, the throw looked very good at the weekend and all week at Lakeside, and to go and do what she did, especially in that final as well against Kirsty Hutchinson with the 92 average and dropping just one leg on the way to winning that title in the final, deserves a lot of plaudits, and rightly so. And you looked on social media as well on Sunday evening, you saw top professionals like Gerwyn Price, Damon Heta, to name a few. They were getting on Twitter and writing to say, how well is this Beau Greaves? She's a good player. And I think it's something that we thought was going to happen sooner rather than later. And of course, the last couple of years have been difficult because we've not had this Women's World Championship, which we'll come on to in a moment. But she's come back and she's won the title in impressive fashion. And yeah, she's got that first one under her belt. And I think a lot of our listeners, a bit like us, really want to see all these top players in the same room, in the same venue, playing each other more often than they have done in the last couple of years. And with the PDC Women's Series, we know we're going to see Lisa Ashton, we're going to see Fallon Sherrick there. We're not sure about Beau Greaves. She played in the very first Women's Series in 2020, but we've not seen her play in it since then. Hopefully, we'll see her playing some of the women's series events. And we'll put Mikuru Suzuki in the conversation as well. I know it didn't end well for her title defence, but she's got to be in the mix as well. And I think you probably put those four as the top four, and maybe Kirsty Hutchinson as number 5, a close number 5 after getting to the final. But yeah, I think it's a tricky one at the moment. For me, I'm probably going to put Lisa and Fallon as 1 and 2. Don't ask me which order, because I think it is very close. But I think Beau Greaves, she's cemented her spot as number 3 for now. But hopefully we'll see her and all the ladies back in action in the same tournaments, because I don't think we've seen those 4 playing in the same tournament for at least 3 years, I want to say. It's been a long time. So yeah, hopefully for this rest of 2022, now that we have got all these events coming back, we're going to see all these ladies go up against each other. And yeah, we'll come back to this question maybe at the end of the year. We could be saying Beau Greaves is that number 1.